Having a mentor and the support that a mentor provides can provide you with a lot of benefits. There's value in it, and there's an opportunity to leverage all the things that they bring to the relationship. We're going to talk today about mentoring support, the benefits, and more on episode 798 of today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Look at you bobbing your head today. Hey.
It was a head bobbing moment, I felt like, for some reason.
That came out of the blue. You never do that. Wow.
I know.
Folks, for you on the podcast, I do a little gyration as we come into the show.
With his hands.
With my hands. They're like maracas.
Sort of.
And today, Tom was moving his head to the music, which is unusual. So,
just trying to shake it up a little
and
bit.
If you're a real careful watcher, you'll see that we're dressed in the same clothes as we were earlier. Aren't you? I think you are. I know I am.
I am, yes.
So we're recording this episode for Wednesday. I've got a little conflict, and Tom was nice enough to allow me to record this. So don't look for us to respond to the comments in real time, but promise we will respond to the comments.
When we get some time. You are busy.
We are busy. That's right.
All right, everybody. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast. Each week we have a conversation around a topic. And as I mentioned, our topic this week is mentoring support or mentor support. And today we're going to discuss the value, the benefits of it. If you want to, you can go back to yesterday. We talked about the challenges. And on Monday, we shared a little bit about what mentoring support is, just to set the tone for the week. And as we go through our conversation today about the benefits, we welcome your thoughts and ideas. Even though we may not be able to respond to them on the show, we will jump back in and respond to them in the comments. And just because we don't mention it on the show necessarily, someone else may be watching the show and see it, and it might have real value for them. So please feel free to share your thoughts and ideas. At the end of the conversation, Bob and I will each offer our one thing, our today's antidote. That thing that we hope will help you figure out how to take your next step. If you might be stuck, uncertain, maybe a little unconfident, don't really have a system or strategies to help you figure out, one, how to get a mentor, where to look for them, what to do with them, the challenges, or the benefits, because you're not seeing it at the moment. But hopefully we will help you figure out how to take your next step. And of course, if you have an antidote, a one thing, please feel free to share that as well. Because likely, while people may have heard what you have to say from others, they haven't really heard it. And the way you say it and the way you share it might be just the thing that allows them to get it and then leverage it to figure out how to move forward and create the success they desire. Before we dive into our conversation, though, each morning, Bob and I do our celebration. So, Bob, what are you celebrating today?
I am celebrating. You caught me off guard, and I didn't think about it. So
wait a minute. Hold on.
I know it never happens.
We do this every day, Bob. You should have a celebration ready.
I did have one for the day, but I'm not ready for the next one. So I guess I'll go back to something Saturday. I was fortunate enough to coach someone on Saturday, a new client. And at the end, they said to me, I've got to pay you a compliment. Okay. And I'm always uncomfortable when people say that. And she said,
wait, what?
I'm a little uncomfortable about
For
that.
the guy whose language is
words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation, you're uncomfortable when somebody gives you a compliment?
That's a whole week of programs. We'll be doing that one in June, folks.
Okay, let's hear it. Sorry to interrupt.
With that preface, there isn't much here. But she said, I had a business coach before, and I felt like all he ever wanted to do was make me do what he wanted me to do. And in this 2 hours with you, I didn't feel like you were steering me towards anything. I felt like you were amplifying what I'm doing myself. And I thought, wow, that's really That was nice to hear. And I like the word amplify.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's an interesting choice of words.
Yeah. So I thank you.
You're welcome.
To that person.
Oh.
Sorry. And Tom, what do you celebrate this lovely morning / afternoon?
So between the time when we did our show live today and the time we're recording it yesterday, I was actually on a conversation with some other people who have received a standard of excellence training in the nonprofit space through Maryland Nonprofits and through the Standard of Excellence community. And we were talking about affinity groups and the challenges, benefits, values of affinity groups. And so they asked me to be one of the people sharing my thoughts and ideas. So I got to talk about the Ring of Renegades and how it started and why it started and the value and some of the other things of why we created it and why we're still doing it and all of that. And it just reminded me again of how easy it is for me now to look back and be thankful of the step that we took on March 19th, 2020, when we first started doing the show and all that has blossomed from that, including the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. So that's what I'm celebrating today.
Wow, I like that. That's a good one.
It was fun. Always fun to talk about that stuff. And I got to talk about the words that I choose not to use and some other things too. So that's
all your favorites, right?
Yes. Hitting on all the highlights, no doubt.
There you
go. All right,
go.
Bob. So why don't we dive into our conversation today? We're talking about mentor support and the benefits. Do you want to kick us off?
Yes, I'd love to, Tom. Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome, because you didn't really want to kick it off yesterday. You weren't.
I didn't, but I like the benefits. So
until we got started, and then you had plenty of challenges that you shared.
I did wind up, didn't I?
It was kind of interesting to watch.
So when it comes to the benefits, I think the biggest benefit of a mentor is that if you're being mentored by someone, you're getting the benefit of their experience. So they've gone before you. Yes, they've done it their way. That'd be a good song. Anyway.
I think they do it. I think it's called My Way.
Oh, okay.
I'm doing it my way, right?
That's a renegade.
So, that's a real
so
renegade.
You could be my mentor. You're doing it your way, and your way could help me figure out steps along my way. Right?
Yes.
And I think that's a really powerful tool that often gets overlooked. When I was teaching college and I would teach a new course for the first time, most of the universities I worked at would give you someone else's syllabus and say, hey, here's the syllabus they used last year. It was a starting point. I was lucky enough teaching a couple of courses where the person that was teaching it in addition to me would mentor me and say, hey, here's what I try to do, the sequence. And they would make it so much easier to teach that course the first time, because they'd be like, I know you're in week 6 and it feels like you're never going to get to the end of this course. You have so much to cover, but trust me, it goes really fast, week 7, 8, 9. And I remember someone saying that to me. I was like, they were correct. And I was really stressing at week 6. It's like, I've only covered a quarter of the material. I've only got 9 more weeks. It's not possible to catch up. And it is like they knew what was going through my head, and they helped me see, hey, this will work out. And so that saved me a lot of stress, and it made for a better experience for my students because I wasn't rushing through things. I was just going through things the way they needed to go. And I think that's what a mentor does. They help us achieve things that we could probably achieve on our own, but they help us do it in a more efficient, more effective, and often a more personalized way. Like I've had mentors say to me, I know you don't like doing this thing, so I was thinking about it. You could try it this way. So here's the obstacle in front of you. Here's a way around it, versus bash your head against the obstacle 5 or 6 times. I think or 600 as it may be in some cases for me. But I think one of the other benefits is it deepens our relationships with people. So many of the people that have mentored me have been really good relationships for me, that have been at my wedding, they've been at parties, they've been involved in many of the aspects of my life. They're the ones to celebrate my successes because they know from where I came in a way that some people might not. And when I graduated from undergrad school, I actually had 2 of my professors and a dean come to the party at my house. I invited them and they all showed up. My friends thought I was the craziest guy in the world. It was so much fun.
Crazy.
It was so much fun because here they were just being casual, nice, normal people, drinking beverages, eating food with my family, joking about me in class. And the dean actually said, I've been a dean for 16 years. I've never been invited to anyone's house for a party in those 16 years. And it was like, wow, I had no idea, but she made a real impact on me and really helped me be the person I was. And I wanted her to celebrate that with me. And I think that can be a really powerful aspect of it, that the mentors that we have, and when we mentor people, we celebrate with them. Nothing was more satisfying to me than when someone I mentored got a promotion, or I have a couple of people that I mentored that are in careers that far exceed the revenue I make and are far more public than what I do. And some people are like, oh, that must really drive you crazy. Like, drives me crazy with excitement that they're off doing amazing things. And I know I had a small piece in it. What do you think about all that?
No, I like it. I mean, I think those are clearly things that are benefits of a mentor.
That's good, because that was our topic.
So you stayed on topic. That was good. Doesn't always happen on this show. If we have a topic, I guess we have a topic.
Well, you write the topic across the top. It's a starting point.
Sure. It's a starting point. Yeah, I think that, one of the things that as you were talking, I was thinking about was that with mentors, we just get different knowledge, experience, and perspective. And in a way that person shows the interest and care that they have for you. And we could almost never have that if we didn't have a mentor. It would be really hard, almost impossible to understand. They have been through some common experience that we are trying to go through. And so they at least have some insight, not all insight, and not that theirs is exactly like ours, just some insight into some of the opportunities and the obstacles that we're going to face, and can at least share from their perspective. And it's not only their perspective, I think it's their perspective and an incorporation of what they know about us.
Mm-hmm.
And, and so I think that makes it just a little bit different than anyone else, some random person just sharing, oh, here's some thoughts and ideas as you travel this pathway, right? How many times have you been at a professional development thing when you were in college and they brought back a speaker that said, oh, I walked your shoes, and yes, they walked our shoes, and they don't know anything about us personally. Typically, the mentors that we have know at least a little bit about us personally, which allows them to shape how they share their knowledge and experience a little bit differently. And so I think we leverage what's real for them in a way that has at least some consideration for what's real for us, at least as they know it within the relationship they've had with us. And I think that makes it a little more tailored, a little more personalized to where we're at than just the average person who comes in and says, oh, yeah, I was a student here, or I used to work here, and these were all the things that I did. And that can be helpful because that is a perspective. It just is not necessarily taking into account what they know, because they don't know anything about us. And I think with a mentor, you can at least say, well, I know a little bit about them. And I know that, here are some of the things that maybe they have told me they feel really comfortable with. And here's the things that they struggle with. And so I can sort of have a little greater insight into, well, based on my experience, if you're struggling with this, here's where you might have an issue. And here was maybe something that I did because I dealt with that a little bit as well, that I could offer as a potential solution for you to consider as it moves forward. And I think it's hard. We don't get that all the time. One, because nobody is traveling the same pathway as us. Exactly. And so they can't always know everything they need to know about us or the pathway. And yet they know more than many others. And so it can be a little more useful and helpful and impactful than information from some random person who just happens to have done something similar and shares it based on what was beneficial for them or challenging for them, with no consideration around, or much consideration around who we are and what we are all about.
Well, I was thinking about the mentors I had, and one of the things they do is they sort of bridge the gap between the culture of the organization or the industry or the landscape and me. You know, I'm trying to fit into a organization, and they are in that organization, and they can say, okay, you know, this weekly meeting is really important. This is when you need to bring your best stuff. Or, hey, I know it's an annual review, but this is some of the ways that you improve that annual review. Or, you know, I know when I go in and meet a potential client for the first time, if someone's recommended me and they're like, he really likes to talk about his college years, so mention where you went to school because you went to a great school. That's a mentoring thing where it's like that little tidbit can be so valuable in building the pathway to where you want to go. And I think mentors often bridge that cultural gap, because especially when you're moving into some new situation, you don't know all the nuances of the culture, that this person always sits in that seat and this person's going to make a joke about your hair and you just have to laugh and move on. Or those types of things, or not, but at least you're aware of it, right?
Correct.
Going into it. And I think that's one of the roles a mentor can provide us. They give us that information that makes the landing in a new situation far easier.
Yes, 100% agree. I think that's, one of the challenges that we have is that we aren't always able to see 5 feet in front of us or 10 feet in front of us, because we're trapped in the middle of it. And if you have someone who at least has some understanding of your pathway, they can provide you with some feedback that might help you avoid, or at least manage differently, some things that would otherwise could be a significant obstacle.
Yeah. So are you ready for your one thing, Tom?
I'm still formulating it. Why don't you share yours?
All right, I'm going to go with mine. I'm going to go back to what I just said. I think one of the really important benefits of a mentor is that they support you by helping you understand the landscape in a way that can be really empowering, so that, you know, it's just like we like to talk about going on your pathway. This is a way to know that coming up ahead in your pathway, it's going to be wet. So you might want to bring something you're willing to get wet. And you might want to have a bag to put your phone in so it doesn't get damaged in the water. And that can make that journey so much easier and so much more enjoyable. Otherwise, I'm going in with wet clothes, coming out with wet clothes, and my phone's probably not going to work afterwards. Metaphorically speaking, of course.
Not realistically speaking. Wouldn't, if you were out in the rain, you got wet, wouldn't your phone likely not work?
I'm out in the rain all the time. My phone works.
Oh, okay.
How about you? Not your phone. What's your one thing?
So it's probably something maybe I could have shared yesterday, although I don't know that I thought, or today, whatever. I thought about it today because we're recording it, and I'm confused on how do I say that and have it be somewhat clear. I think one of the benefits.
Sure that wasn't it, just so you know.
All right. I think that one of the benefits is that they provide us with different perspective that we otherwise wouldn't know and be aware of. And I think that the benefit of that is it's just a perspective. You know, I think so often sometimes mentees get feedback, get shared knowledge, experience, and perspective, and believe that that's all they have to do. Well, this is what my mentor told me to do, so I'm going to go do it. And I think that's not really leveraging a mentor the way that is maybe most helpful, in that, again, they don't know everything there is to know about you. They know some of the things that make you unique and not all of them. And so all they can do is offer the feedback that they think could be most impactful. We have to then decide how impactful do we feel it is, and then not judge them based on well, why didn't they tell me this? Why didn't they share with me that these might be the challenges, or these might be a thing that a hurdle or an opportunity that I might have missed? And I think that the benefit is they're providing a perspective, and it's helpful for us to keep in mind that's just a perspective. It's not necessarily the truth, the be all end all, because again, they don't understand all about you that is unique. And I think one of the benefits is that you're never, you're not restricted to just have one mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can have the opportunity to get multiple mentors who are then providing you with various information, knowledge, experience, and perspective, and allowing you then to sort of leverage all of it to figure out what may be most impactful, most real for you. I'm not sure that that's a benefit. So I'm not, but that was what was coming to my head, was that I think we feel like it's the end all be all. And really the benefit is it's just another piece of information that at least this person has some understanding of you.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike you watch a YouTube video and that person doesn't know anything about you, doesn't mean that their feedback or their information isn't helpful. It just is not given necessarily with you specifically in mind. Whereas a mentor is really thinking about you specifically with what they understand around what's real for you, in an effort to help you directly. And that you have a chance usually to have a conversation around it rather than just a one-way intake of information.
I like that.
Yeah,
it's a lot there.
I'm not sure it's still a benefit. And I'm going with that. So
okay. All right. There you go. All right.
I'm not going to make you restart and do this all over again. How about that?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, everyone. If you have a one thing you'd like to share, your antidote, please feel free to put it in the comments. Because we know that even if you think everyone else would understand that, Bob and I probably have those thoughts almost every single day. Like, why do I need to share this? Because everyone knows it. Well, they might know it. They just haven't heard it from us and in the way that we would share it. So just like us, share your value so that it will help someone else out there figure out how to take their next step along their own unique pathway to success. And if you're listening to the podcast and we know that there's no place to comment, join us in the Ring of Renegades Facebook group and share some of your value in there. Because I know that there are people in there looking for solutions to the challenges they face. And you might be just the person who provides that piece of information, that knowledge, or that experience that helps them figure out how to move forward. Wouldn't that be a great feeling? So we look forward to seeing you inside a Ring of Renegades Facebook group. If not, we will see you Thursday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time-ish, for our next episode of today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone.
Oh, what?
I know.
Have a great day, everyone.
Enjoy your day. Sorry.
Okay. Wow. Hey, whatever you do, no matter how you approach the day, embrace the renegading you. That's all there is to it.
It's not worth it anymore?
No, it's worth it, but you always give me a hard time about that. So it is so worth it.
It's just because
be that renegade.
I like giving you a hard time. That's mostly what
no. Shock.
Right? Surprising, huh? All right, everybody. As Bob said, embrace the renegade of you. We'll see you soon. Thanks for listening to today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.